I'm Terrika Foster Brasby, and I've got next.
You ain't been on Sports Like Talk. Like, what are you doing? Hey, you better hit him up. Look, you breaking next and you up next. Keep the wins go hard. Rise and star on the big scene. Make them know who you are. You don't break a sweat. Don't settle for less. They put you through that test. Your resume that flex. Who got next? Who got next? SLT, ready, say go. Who got next? Who got next? Living my dreams and all your goals. Who got next? Who got next? You can ask B. Jones or head coach. Who got next? Who got next? You next up, so here's my vote.
Oh my God, SLT Nation, we are back with another fire episode of Sports Life Talks. You got next. Ladies and gentlemen, when Kev and I started this journey, when we made the decision to comb the planet internationally and find you amazing, talented individuals, great human beings who are doing phenomenal things and accomplishing big dreams, I didn't really know how big this thing was going to get, ladies and gentlemen. Today, you are in the presence of journalistic royalty. That's right. I am just a super fan today, and I get to enjoy the presence of Terrika Foster Brasby, multimedia sensation, on-air talent, producer, worked with some of the biggest names in the industry. So, Terrika, I hope you don't beat up on us too bad, because I'm just gonna give it the best I can. I'm gonna do what I can. But how are you today?
Well, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me. And secondly, that intro, can you intro me everywhere? Like everywhere we go?
Let me know. I will be there for you. For you out of anybody, I just want to be in your presence. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are rocking with us for the first time, allow me to reintroduce myself. I am your host, the mouth of the South, 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐿 Jones, the Louisiana, Mr. Yeet himself. Yeet! I'm rocking alongside of my co-host, my colleague, my brother, my partner in crime, the smartest man in the show business, the head coach KT. Cam. Man, are you feeling the... How'd you do it, Cam? How'd you do it, bro?
Well, you never know until you ask. So I reached out to her. I slid in those DMs.
There it is.
And she sent it to someone else. And we're here now.
Hey, a closed mouth don't get fed. And today we are being blessed. And I promise you guys, this is going to be an amazing show. But before we get started, me and Kev have to ask one favor of you. You are now rocking with us. We appreciate you for checking out the channel, whether it's your first time or if your 40th time. We need to ask a small favor of you. It won't cost you a penny. We need your support in 3 ways: likes, shares, and subscriptions. On the count of 3, we want you to smash that subscribe button, Detroit, Michigan. All you up there at Bristol and ESPN, all of you in Atlanta, all of you WNBA fans, we need you to rock with us. Our mission is to get up to about 1,000 subscribers, and we know that you can help us to get that. Are y'all ready? 1, 2, 3. Boom! Kevin, I am hearing dings left and right. Oh my God, we made it, brother. We have made it. Listen, if you did smash that subscribe button, we got amazing content coming your way. We promise you, we will work tirelessly. We will not let you down. But without further ado, you didn't come here to hear me run my mouth. You came here to find out what's going on with Terrika Foster Brasby. And I am going to just set my ego aside, and I'm going to give y'all exactly what you wanted. All right, Terrika, we got to take you through what we call the initiation. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go, Kev.
Did you really ask her if she was ready, B. Jones? She's a part of the Sigma Gamma Rho. You know they had to do some stuff to get in there.
Hey,
We
she
stay
stayed
ready. We stay ready. You see it back. We stay ready.
Yeah. And B. Jones, when you said the dings, I was like, yeah, I'm hearing a lot of dings, but a lot of them is coming from the Cowboys and the flags are on the field.
Oh, I thought you was going to say the Sigmas. I'm about to say the Sigmas showing us love, Kev, and we get some love.
Oh, no. They're showing us love, but the refs are not showing the Cowboys love. But we're going to move right along. So, Miss Brasby, in order for you to be a part of the SLT family, you got to give us your top 5 music artists.
Okay. Top 5 music artists. Dead or alive? Don't matter.
Dead or alive.
Don't matter.
Okay. Number 1, Tupac. Always. Number 2, Jay-Z. Always. Number 3, Michael Jackson. Love Mike. Number 4, all time. This is big. All time. I'm thinking, because this is hard. but number 4 might be Eminem. I'm from Detroit and I got a rap.
Hey, I like that. I like that. Rabbit. We got Rabbit in the building.
Got to. And number 5, God, this is a tough one. But number 5 might be Mary J. Blige. She might be Mary J. I don't know. Might. This is tough. 5 is tough because there's a few people who could really take this 5 spot, right? But it might be Mary J. But it could also be New Edition because I'm a huge New Edition fan.
Well, let me ask you this: best Edition song. What's the best song they got?
Of who? New Edition?
Yes.
Oh, Can't Stand the Rain.
I love that. I love that song too.
Mine is If It Isn't Love. That song goes.
Oh, that's a good one.
I'm not gonna tell everybody my favorite one because people gonna be like, where did he get that from? But I'll tell you here, it came off the Home Again CD, which was their last studio record they put together.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, but Mary J. Mary J. has made her interest, ladies and gentlemen, in Sports Life Talk Nation. You are the first person to ever drop Mary J.
Yeah. Oh man, Mary J. is my girl. I will go and watch Mary J. anywhere, everywhere. She can't do no wrong.
Hey, what's the move she do?
She can't dance though.
I know, that's why you gotta rock with her. You be like, you know what, Mary? I don't know what direction we going in, but we gonna do it.
It don't matter. Hey, did she drop? She dropped. Hey.
Did she drop with it? Hey, and it just gets better with time, I promise.
I love me some Mary J. too.
Yes. All right, so give us your favorite sports teams.
All of them?
Hey,
okay.
Give it to us all. Give them all of them.
All right. Favorite NFL, Indianapolis Colts. Favorite baseball, I'm from Detroit, so Detroit Tigers. Basketball, Detroit Pistons. College basketball and football is the Michigan State Spartans. Hockey, Detroit Red Wings. And WNBA, I grew up a Detroit Shock fan. But then once they moved, I couldn't really follow the team upon moving. So I've now become a Connecticut Sun fan for WNBA. Huge Connecticut Sun fan. And those are all the teams I really follow. And I'm just now starting to really get into soccer. So Detroit has an FC club. If you haven't really peeped the pattern here, I'm Detroit everything.
Yeah. Detroit
basketball. I'm telling you, that's how I go down.
That's pretty dope. All
right. So who is your favorite superhero and why?
Wonder Woman. She's the only DC character that I love. I don't really follow DC like that. Like growing up, I watched like Batman or kind of kept up with like some of the Justice League because Wonder Woman was in it. But I've really been big Marvel everything. But Wonder Woman is my girl. Diana holds it down. You know what I mean? She comes from a group of strong women. She's not afraid to challenge anybody, and people underestimate her, which is really what I love the most. Because you see her when she's not in her costume and you're like, oh, it's just a pretty girl, no big deal. And then bam, she done roped you up, threw you halfway across the world and saved everybody. And I like, that's just who Black women are. That's what we do. Right. So if any character I relate to the most, it's Wonder Woman for sure.
Well, I'm glad you said that. So, the Black Wonder Woman is Nubia.
Yes.
Okay. So Nubia, since every good superhero needs their own theme music, what would your theme song be?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I got a lot of songs, but you know what? I think this is ratchet. It's ratchet, but I think my theme song would be Every Day We Lit, because I'm lit every day, literally. Like everywhere I go, when I walk in, you're just like, oh, we're about to have a good time because Terrika's here. Like that's just my natural aura. Just every day we lit, every day.
Well,
not even but in this moment right now, when we are filming, where we're recording this, my Colts took a loss. So it's a little hard, but I'm still trying to be lit.
Hey, and they battled too. They battled in that game. God, in case you're wondering, this was filmed on September the 19th, 2021. So if you watching this sometime in the future, you wonder what game is she talking about, go back to September the 19th, 2021.
Well, we appreciate you pushing through. We know you. We know it's hard because right now my Cowboys are playing, so my nerves are just all everywhere. Be toned with that said, I think it's safe to say that Miss Brasby is in the family.
Miss Brasby, we all feeling it because my Saints got destroyed too. Since we chronicling the pain.
This is just the day. Today is just the day. We need this release. We need to.
I was about to say, you know what? I didn't even care about the loss because I was looking at the calendar. I said, I ain't got but a couple of more hours till I get to get on this mic and talk to Terrika. You know what? Terrika, you got your hands in, 1,000 different pots. I mean, you've got to be considered since 2010, 2011, somewhere around there. You've probably been one of the hardest working women in show business. I mean, you are grinding it out. I literally, after this, I'm going to give Kev a pep talk. Like, hey, you got to do more. You got to show me some more because
if I do any more, I'm going to have my own show, B. Joe.
All right, Terrika. So tell us a little bit about growing up in Detroit. You hold it down. You've been representing Detroit like mad crazy. Tell us a little bit about growing up in the D.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. It's definitely one of those cities where a lot of people know it and not necessarily for all of the right reasons. So I pretty much grew up in a double parent household. My great grandparents raised me PK, so I was a preacher's kid. I spent half my life in church, all of my life in church, every day except for like Tuesday and Friday. Probably the only 2 days that I didn't spend half my life in church. And also a big sports family. Like my family was big baseball family, big baseball people. Matter of fact, after church on Sundays, that was the meal. Mom would come home and cook, and me and granddaddy are watching the Tigers game. And don't get it twisted, mama got the TV on in the kitchen because she watching the Tigers game while she cooked. So that's just kind of like what we were doing. Like that was growing up. But we just basically tried to keep me out of trouble. Anything that could keep me out of trouble, keep me out of the streets, be with friends, be with family, focus on education. Again, growing up with great grandparents from the South, education was top priority because, they only had about 8th or 9th grade and that was it, So that was a big thing for me growing up, just staying out of trouble. So sports was my outlet to stay out of trouble. Play sports, read about it, talk about it, watch it. Going to high school, went to Persian High School, which if you're a basketball fan, it's the same high school that Spencer Haywood went to. And so it's just one of those things where everybody talked about it, everybody was around it, and that was just the one thing that kept you out of trouble. So my parents are really big on that, going to college, just anything and everything. I've seen and had family members, friends, people from the neighborhood didn't quite make it to 21, didn't quite make it to 30, didn't quite get out of the neighborhood. So it's always been important to me to be that catalyst for helping those under me understand you can come from a rough area, you can grow up in a city that, a lot of people will count you out from, but you can definitely make it.
Man, how great are the sports debates in your household?
Man, what? What? Are you kidding me? Like my great grandmother is 91 years old, right? 91. So such a blessing. But when I tell you she will fuss them Tigers out, she will fuss them out to anybody. Like that's just how it is. So you're gonna have to come correct when you're trying to have sports conversations in my household. You gotta come correct.
The first basketball team I ever fell in love with was the Detroit Bad Boys, and because Joe Dumars is from Louisiana, and I am
that surely is.
He's from Louisiana, and my family we were so proud to have Joe Dumars up there. We watched all of those games, and I fell in love. I had a problem with Michael Jordan until I was about 30. Because of the way they did Isaiah. Yeah. I mean, I literally just got over my Jordan thing. But let's keep it on you.
I'm still not over it, but we gonna get there.
Now, you play basketball, you play volleyball, you did a dual sport, but it was all kind of a setup, right? And since those days, like I'm just gonna go through some of the things you covered to give America an idea, an example how hard you're working. You've covered the AAC, you've covered the 2018 and 2019 Final Four for the women's. You've covered the WNBA, the 2018 NBA Draft, the NFL, the Detroit Tigers, the 2018 All-Star Game, NCAA games. I mean, you've covered so much. What has been your favorite moment in your career? What is the favorite event? Something that stands out in your mind? You're like, man, this was such an inspirational story and an inspirational moment that I have to tell you guys about that story.
I think the biggest or most fun, most memorable that I can recall just off the top of my head would have to be the 2018 NCAA Women's Final Four, because that was the Final Four that 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 hit the game winner against UConn, and turned around and hit another game winner the 2 nights later for the actual championship, in order to give Notre Dame the win. And that to me was amazing. Like, you know, you hear so many people speak negatively about women's basketball. Nobody watches it. Nobody cares. They're not real athletes. Like, you know, the kind of stuff that they say. But I think those were the type of moments that really help define what the sport is and how much these athletes truly do appreciate and deserve the recognition that they are starting to receive now, and should have been receiving all along the way. But that was just an electrifying moment. Like, if you were in that arena, we were in Columbus, Ohio, and if you were in that arena when 𝐦𝐤𝐤𝐤 hit that shot, like, it was mind blowing. It was like everyone erupted. And we were thinking, you know, usually the original semifinal game is on Friday and the final championship game is on Sunday. So from Friday to Sunday, we were thinking there's no way she does this twice. Like, there's no way she does this again. And she did it again. Crazy. So I think
she's still
for the win. Balling out. They're balling out in Dallas, right? So you saw it then. You definitely can still see her maturation, but that was literally one of the moments where I don't think I'll ever forget what that feeling was like, being there for that.
She's the reason why I watch WNBA basketball. I kid you guys not. Kev,
it's a good reason.
Yeah, Kev said, B, we going to a WNBA game. We were able to go to the New York Liberty versus the Dallas Wings, and she went nuts. And I couldn't say her last name to help me. Kevin said, man, for the 1,000th time, let me say. But I left that, and ever since then, me and Kev, we talk about those Wings all the time. All right, so now I don't want to get into too many semantics, but first and foremost, I want to applaud you for all of the amazing accomplishments you've done. That's crazy.
Thank
if
you
guys don't believe me, go to her website at terrikafosterbrasby.com. You'll see her with a litany of who's who, from sports personalities to actors, Omari Hardwick. I mean, you the truth, all right? But
I appreciate
let's talk about some real. Let's talk about some real. 2019, 2020, 2021, the game has changed from those time frames. We went through the social injustice movement. What does it mean for you to be? And you know, it's funny because you talked about Wonder Woman, and out of all the groups that can't get a bad rap, it comes to find out that our African American women are the most, you know, the worst treated people on the face of the earth, right? What does that mean for you to be a figurehead, a light, an inspiration to so many black women and black girls growing up to turn on the WNBA or to turn on some of these major programs like the Undefeated and Fansided and CU? What does that mean for you to carry that torch?
That's a very it's a very huge undertaking, especially being in media. And it's because there are often times where you kind of get the feeling like you're not supposed to be human when you work in journalism. But especially when you're a black woman in sports, because, you know, for so many years, journalists or sports journalists were not supposed to have an opinion, you know, unless you were a columnist that specifically wrote opinion columns. You weren't supposed to have an opinion. You know, you were supposed to just report the facts, just say this, just say that. If it's not sports related, then it's over. And then you put us in a position where we're not only dealing with what's going on from a sports perspective, but we're dealing with real life stuff. And between 2018 and 2020, and even 2021, in certain circumstances, black women specifically were put in positions where we could no longer just write about sports. We could no longer just, you know, stay professional in terms of, you know, the kinds of topics that we had to disseminate. We had real life issues that we needed to bring attention to, and we felt it was time. It was definitely time. And so for me, being able to express my thoughts on certain things and still being able to garner the respect of my colleagues, for people to still read my articles and still understand, like, yeah, she's going to write about the WNBA, but she's also going to tell you about why disrespecting black women, why we're done with that. She's also going to tell you that it's a crime that, you know, Breonna Taylor has still not seen justice for her murder. And I'm going to say it just like that, for her murder. You know, like, those were the kinds of topics and conversations that needed to be had. And somebody needed to have them. And so I just kind of, it was a huge undertaking to do that. It took a lot of wanting to be fearless. And by fearless, I mean, like, you understand that certain conversations you have, there are going to be people who are not going to like you for it. There are going to be people who are going to blow up your social media for it, call you all types of names. There are going to be people at your job who are not going to be happy that you're speaking on this. They're going to try to tell you, maybe tone it down a bit, maybe be careful of how you say certain things. There are going to be people to do that. And you don't have to choose between your moral compass and your ethics and being afraid. And I chose to not be afraid. Like, I don't care if that's how you feel. I'm a Black woman. This is my life. This is real life for a lot of people. And I have a platform. I mean, I'm not like, I'm not like millions of followers or anything like that, but I have a big enough platform to where people listen to me and they value my opinion. And I'm not going to take that for granted. So I'm going to use that to educate those who need to be educated and to speak for those who don't have a platform to speak on.
And if you come for her on Twitter, you better not miss, because she's going to give it to you.
I will clap back, okay?
Hey, she told you about Granny earlier. The apple don't fall from the tree. She gonna give it to you for real.
She got it from her mama.
Yes. So if you could interview anyone, past or present, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
If I could interview anyone, I would interview Maya Angelou, and I'll tell you why. Maya Angelou had a moment in her life where she went for years without speaking. I can't go for 5 minutes without shutting the heck up. And so I would love to know, the type of discipline, what went on in her mind, why she came to that decision, and how she was able to, exude her thoughts through her pen. As a writer, writing is very important to me, and I absolutely love those who are able to express themselves using their pen and their paper, And so for me, Maya Angelou is just someone who I've always admired. I love the way she's been able to tell stories and put her words in a way that almost anyone and everyone can understand them. And just being able to discipline yourself and take a vow of silence for that amount of time, it's intriguing.
Yet
it's intriguing.
Yeah.
I know, right?
All right, so let's go back to your college life. Me, I'm still looking to get into a grad chapter or something. So tell us why you decided to go 𝐦𝐵 Gamma Rho.
Yeah. So I was busy in college, very busy. I equate my college life to college football a lot, where I say I have my true freshman year, and then my true freshman and sophomore year, and then the other freshman and sophomore year. So my true freshman and sophomore year, I played volleyball. I was going to school at an HBCU in Miami called Florida Memorial University, and it was Miami, and I was 18, and Lord knows I was acting a whole fool in Miami at 18. So
that's not hard to do. I guarantee you most people in your situation probably did the same exact thing.
But B. Jones, let's not forget that she said she's a PK too. So
what? Are you kidding me? Kidding me? I acted up, but not to the point where like my grades faltered, but to the point where it was like, Terrika, you got to get your life together because you are out here wilding out. And I ended up only staying in Miami for 2 years before going back home. My grandfather got sick. Eventually he passed away of cancer. Ironically, today is actually his birthday. September 19th is his birthday. So I kind of felt lost. And in that time, I grew up. Time went by. I grew up. I started to feel bad because I was out of school. I knew my grandfather would be turning over in his grave, as the old folks say, for me not being in school. And then I got my first student loan bill, and I was like, wait, I'm about to be paying student loans, and I ain't got no degree. Nah, I got to go back.
Serious about that?
Like, y'all was for real about that?
Yeah.
No. So I went back to school. I did a year at a PWI, which is predominantly white institution for those listening. And I hated it because I had the HBCU experience and I loved it. So I did some random stuff where I put a bunch of states that had Black colleges in a Ziploc bag, shook it up, and whatever state I pulled out, I was just going to find a school to go there. I pulled out North Carolina. And so when I pulled out North Carolina, I found St. Augustine's University, which is where I eventually ended up doing 4 years. So when I say my true freshman, true sophomore, it's because when you transfer, you lose credits. And where I might have been a junior or a senior, them credits didn't transfer. So I was a freshman all over again. But being there is where I started to really get a good sense of what Greek life was like. And for most people my age at the time, I was like 21 by this time. 21 is kind of old when you're on campus with a bunch of 18 and 19-year-olds. I had real life bills. I didn't have the opportunity to pledge while I was in college. And I was kind of a little bit embarrassed as well, because who's this 21, 22-year-old chick, you know, who no longer lives on campus, and she's showing up trying to get in good with these 19-year-olds to join the sorority. And it just felt weird. But I always had an interest. I always made my presence known to them. I love the fact that, you know, they were an organization that was established on a predominantly white college in an era in which pretty much racism was extremely prevalent in Indianapolis. And, you know, the last thing was the fact that they resembled me. They were a bunch of adult women who still wanted to make some significant changes in their community, even at an age that most people would consider to be a little too old. And so it resonated with me. So in 2016, after many years, as I graduated college in 2010, but 2016, I finally got my opportunity to join Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. I now serve on the board of directors of our regional, of our Northeastern region. I am going to continue to serve, continue to be active, continue to encourage others. It's never too late, guys. If you ever wanted to join a frat or a sorority, it's never too late.
I'm pledging next week, KT.
Come on now.
Well, it's going to take longer than a week. But
hey, quick question, Kev. I'm sorry to interrupt your questions, but me and Kev, we do a show on Wednesday nights at 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. And shameless plug, by the way. But this last week, we talked about HBCU experience. And I didn't realize that St. Augustine's was a HBCU school. So when you mentioned that, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. The timing couldn't have been better. But in your opinion, what do these HBCU schools, because this was the topic, this was the heated debate we had Wednesday night. What do these HBCU schools need to do, or is it what does the media have to do to change the perception of HBCUs and give them more revenue share and to give them more optics and popularity?
It's definitely media. Like the first thing definitely needs to be media. And that's why people like 𝐦𝐸 who decided to go to Howard University to play basketball instead of going to like a Duke or, you know, a North Carolina or something like that. Those are the type of things that we have to continue to push. The problem is we have made, and by me, I'm speaking to media, we have made it seemed like it is completely impossible to go to a school like a Tennessee State or Texas A&M or Prairie View or anything like that. We've made it so impossible to go to a Southern and be in the SWAC. Like, people don't understand, like, some of these conferences, when they say, one of the things that burns me up is when I hear people say, oh, but she chose a D1 over an HBCU. And I think, do you not know that there are HBCUs that are part of a D1 conference? So you don't have to go to a school that has one of the biggest names in order to be seen. If you really have the talent, the media is going to follow the talent. So we have to encourage our students to know, like, you go where you feel best and where you feel comfortable. And if you're good at what you do, the media is going to find you and follow you. And we've got to follow through on that and continue to show some love and shed some light. We also just need our alumni too to really push it. You know,
that was my take.
Yes. We've got a lot of alumni members who do a pretty good job of letting people know that they went there, but how good are you at encouraging other students? I don't necessarily say, oh, you've got to go to St. Aug, but I am one who is like, listen, before you consider blase, have you considered an HBCU? Let me give you some information. Let me slide you a website. Let me tell you who you can talk to, because we've built an HBCU network where you've got a group of friends who represent various schools from everywhere that can tell you about what you need to know about that institution. I've got friends from FAM, got friends from Howard, Hampton, Fisk, of course, my own, like everywhere. So it's a combination of the media has to do better. But, and people like Eddie George becoming a coach at Tennessee State and Dion becoming a coach at Jackson State, those help too. The media are going to follow them. Those are Hall of Famers.
What about if more of these famous people followed that Chris Paul kind of thing? You know, because Chris Paul has kind of adopted HBCU. He went to Wake Forest, but he has adopted HBCU, and he's constantly throwing stuff to make sure if it wasn't for Chris Paul, he was the reason that they were featured in the NBA All-Star Weekend. People don't know about that.
He's from Winston-Salem, and Winston-Salem State is a very popular HBCU there. And then listen, understand that some of us we're not extremely old, but from now until where we were coming up and going to college, there wasn't a strong push for HBCU, attendance. And now I think because there's more of a strong push, we're starting to see it. The Sparks just recently had HBCU night during their game. So they're doing their best to give more love. But like when I was growing up, my first exposure to HBCU life and culture was school days. I was like, what? I'm going to Mission College, and then I, and of course, you didn't ask this, but my favorite TV show of all time is A Different World. You couldn't tell me I wasn't going to Hillman. What? Yeah. I was going to Hillman. I was going to pledge the same thing Whitley pledged. We was about to be just amazing. Like this was how we were exposed to it. There's nothing like that now. There isn't many television shows and things like that are giving HBCU life like the beauty of it that we all knew. And so to have players like Chris Paul and teams like the Sparks or like the Chicago Sky, they also just recently did a Greek night at one of their games. And so these are the kinds of things that are really going to help propel these schools a little bit more in the spotlight, as they should be.
And I used to have a crush on Freddie. Okay.
Oh, Freddie, yeah.
Freddie was awesome.
Three summers, yes, sir.
Oh, man, I had a big crush on Freddie.
And what's funny about that, Ms. Brasby, is we talked about that on air, too. I said that, hey, we still need to show the reruns of A Different World, but we need to reboot that show like they're doing The Fresh Prince.
They really do need to reboot that show. I would be so in favor of it. I need Whitley and Dwayne to have a kid. First of all, okay, I'm not gonna go down this rabbit hole, but I will replay that wedding scene 50 million 11 dozen times.
Yes.
Every time. I know every word by heart. I love it. I love it. Favorite show of all time.
Okay, so let me ask you this before we go on to our championship rounds. I know you've seen the movie Brown Sugar, correct? Okay, so let's pretend that you are Sydney. Is there an Andre in your life?
There is an Andre in my life. He is my husband.
So tell us a little bit about your Andre.
Oh man. Yes, he is the Andre in my life. My husband is the Andre in my life. But he's let me tell you, my husband and I, we fight all the time, and not in the way that most people think, but we are both huge sports fans, and we never have any teams that we like alike. He's a Philly fan, so he's Philly everything. Eagles, Sixers, Phillies, everything. Like even if he don't even watch hockey, but he will cheer for the Flyers just to not cheer for the Red Wings. Like it's just we fight all the time about sports. And so people often wonder, like, how does y'all marriage work? Like, I can't imagine being in y'all household where like all y'all do are watching sports. It's so bad to the point where we have decided where most guys want like a man cave. We can't have that. It's got to be a game cave because it can't just be yours. Unisex.
Everything you know.
It can't just be yours. Like, I refuse to walk in anywhere in my house and it's just all Eagles. No. We're going to have to split this bad boy up down the middle. I don't know if we're going to have to roll dice. I don't know if we're going to have to do scissor, paper, rock. I don't know how this going to work. But this got to be split up down the middle. I can't. So he's the Andre in my life for sure. But we definitely fight.
You can't sleep good with all that Eagle paraphernalia down there.
I would not be able to. I said, who is supposed to live up in here with all of this? I can't do it.
But what people don't realize is with all the fighting, you know what happens later on? Y'all got to make up. So.
Sir.
That's where that Mary J come in. That's where
that Mary J come in.
In that new edition.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all better quit it.
All right, so let's get after it, man. We got 30 minutes. We need to.
I'm glad you said that you and your husband got some bickering, because Kevin and I, at this part of the show, we go head up and we challenge each other, and this becomes a all-out brawl, and we call it championship rounds. All right, Terrika. So have you ever played the game called Would You Rather?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so the rules are very simple, America. I will present an option. Kev will present an option. You select which one of these options are most applicable to yourself. You are calling all the shots. Whichever options you select will give that host a point, and the first host to 2 points, or the best out of 3, will win this episode's game of championship rounds. And for those of you who are keeping up with us out there, who are rocking alongside, thank you so much. Kev is right now. He is in a strong lead. I don't know why. I got a real good feeling my fortunes are going to change today. Kevin is winning 45 games to my 38. That's right, America. Ooh. I don't know how he pulled it off, but I'm coming back. I'm coming for the throne. Don't worry. Just sit tight. We got more guests. We got more shows coming. And that Louisiana train is coming. All right, Kev, you kick it off, sir.
You just said since you're the champ, kick it off, but that's okay. I'll let you make it. All right.
Yeah, so, not today.
Man, whatever.
ESPN watching. Not today.
Whatever. All right. Would you rather have gone pro in softball or
gone pro in volleyball?
It might actually have to be... Oh, that's tough. Probably volleyball. But I'm going to tell you...
Oh.
Okay, no, yeah.
You did right. You played it. That was the right one, the first one.
Yeah, it would probably have to be volleyball. I was a catcher in softball. I don't know if my knees could have taken going pro in that anymore.
Short career. Short career. All right, here we go. Round number 2. Would you rather co-produce a series called Rewind about the life of basketball legends who didn't get a chance to play in the WNBA, example, Cheryl Miller, but this TV show will be featured on Oprah's own network, or
produce a Netflix series about the life of Michelle Obama with the help of Shonda Rhimes?
Ooh.
So do you
got me with Shonda? You got me with Shonda.
Yeah, we don't even repeat anything, BJ.
You got me with Shonda. Shonda, you can't turn down no opportunities with Shonda, okay?
You better tell ABC what happened when you tell me.
Okay.
Netflix right. Eating right now. You
and Michelle Obama.
Hey,
that's the queen. For real. That's the queen.
Kevin a cheater, man.
Oh, man. I tried to put you down too. You know what I'm saying?
I gave you some love, Kevin. I gave you some love. All right, round number 3. Here we go, Terrika.
And for the win for one of us and the other one's going to be mad the rest of the show, would you rather go back in time knowing what you know now and start over, or
fast forward and see what the future holds?
Oh, fast forward. Because if I fast forward and see what the future holds and it's some crap, I'm going to change some things so that I can definitely make sure the future don't come out like that. I wouldn't change my past because I wouldn't be who I am.
Ooh.
I wouldn't be who I am if I and honestly, I probably wouldn't do anything differently. Like all that cut up I did in Miami, I needed that cut up. I needed that. Get that out the way early so, I can behave myself now.
Well, Terrika, I am back in the win column. Oh my God, it feels so good. I predicted it before we started. I knew it was gonna happen.
Hey, Joe, stop, man.
I want to first and foremost send a shout out.
Yeah, you predict a lot of stuff though. So yeah,
I want to send a shout out to Detroit, Michigan. Without y'all, this moment wouldn't be possible. All my Sigmas out there, we in here. Let's go. All right, Terrika. Well, thank you for playing along with that game. Me and Kevin, we have a lot of fun with that. But the show is about you, and the show's title is You Got Next. And you just told us you want to see what the future holds, but tell us, what are your predictions of what the future holds? Tell us what is up next for Terrika Foster Brasby.
Well, I am just going to continue to keep working on bringing basketball to the forefront in terms of women's sports content in the WNBA. So I recently was just featured in the first ever W Slam magazine. A lot of people know Slam magazine is the basketball magazine. They finally, for the 25th anniversary, dropped an exclusively women's basketball oriented magazine. So it was a pleasure and obviously an honor to be included in that magazine. So, check that out. Go to a newsstand near you and make sure that you cop that, because I don't know how many they're going to be. So you want to make sure that you got one. I also will continue to keep working on my YouTube series, Take 2. It's a series where I take 2 minutes to just talk about whatever I feel like talking about. It could realm from sports to social justice to just me clowning around, politics, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just 2 minutes of me talking about whatever. So I'll continue to keep building on that. I don't know what else I will be working on, but I would absolutely say just continue to be following me, because stuff comes up out the clear blue. Like I randomly get people to ask me to be a part of their, podcast or be a part of their magazine or write a journal for their article or something for their newspaper. And I have a problem saying no. So just keep following me and keep checking me out on social media, and you'll definitely see what I got coming up next.
Thank you so much for not saying no.
Thank you.
That's a problem we appreciate.
All right, so besides IG and Twitter, tell the SLT Nation where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find me at, you can definitely check out my website, as you mentioned earlier, terrikafosterbrasby.com. I am on, well, you said Instagram and Twitter already, but I actually got a name update. So Twitter decided to love me and decided that they wanted to cancel. So here's a funny, quick 10-second Twitter story. There was somebody who had the name She Knows Sports for a long time, but they had not used that name since like 2009. And I just kept begging Twitter. I said, Twitter, can y'all please give me this name? Like, this is my name. This is my brand. And Twitter kept acting like they didn't want to love on me. And they was like, nah. So I had to use the underscore. But I am here to say that Twitter has finally loved on me and given me my name. And so now they have removed the underscore. Finally. So it's just She Knows Sports now. I don't know how to act about myself.
But you know what kind of influence she got, ladies and gentlemen. She changing social media. That's what I'm talking about.
If I could get Twitter to now add an edit button, we'll be all right.
You know what's funny about that? I think I used to follow the old account that She Knows Sports. I think I actually followed them. So hey, shout out to
crazy.
Yeah, shout out to you because hey, you gonna rock it. And speaking of shout outs, do you have any shout outs?
Yeah, like, listen, first off, shout out to you guys, because this podcast and what you guys are doing and this show and what you guys are doing is amazing. So definitely shout out to you guys. Shout out to my family back home in Detroit. Love y'all. To my girl, LaChina Robinson. She is somebody who literally, I honestly don't think I'd be in this position without her and her influence. Just working with her on an Around the Rim podcast for ESPN and having her introduce me to the right people, putting me in the right spaces. It definitely helped me get where I am. So I definitely got to shout out her. And shout out to the sirens that's going by right now, because I live near emergency responders. And so, you know, it's never an emergency until we're recording something. So shout out to you guys. I hope you get there. And shout out to my sorors, because you shouted them out and I know they're going to be watching it and listening. So y'all, and shout out.
Hey, well, Terrika Foster Brasby, you got next. So we're going to do something very new. This is the first episode we've ever done this. Is we want you to tell us who got next. Who do you recommend that Kev and I reach out and get on our platform? Who got next? You calling them out. They got to be on the show and they got to sit in that same seat as you. So you tell us, Ms. Brasby.
You know what? I think you guys should holler at, and I don't know if y'all have done him or not. So if you haven't, you should. But you guys should definitely holler at Brian Waters. Brian Waters is dope. And he definitely touches on a fan base that a lot of us loved as kids. At least I did. And somehow there became a disconnect, and he's helping to bridge that gap right back. And that's wrestling and physical sports. Were you guys big wrestling fans growing up?
Kevin is a huge wrestling fan. We've had wrestlers come on You Got Next. So Brian Waters, you are on the clock. You got next, sir. Terrika Foster Brasby, you are truth. You are amazing. You are phenomenal. You the dopest out there. I promise you. I just need you to mentor me a little bit more. We're going to get there. We're going to get on your level. And you got next, sis. Thank y'all for rocking alongside of us again for another just wonderful episode. If you guys aren't enjoying this content, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do to help you out, because, I mean, great guests, great people, great stories. It's inspirational every time we do it. Listen, if you didn't smash that subscribe button, we're gonna send the offer and play the ground one more time. Don't put $1 in it. Don't put a penny in it. Hit the subscribe button. Share it with a friend. Don't forget to comment. Tell us what you thought about the show. We are maniacal about engagement. And as I shamelessly plugged earlier today, Kevin and I, we go live every Wednesday night at 8:00 p.m. Central Standard Time. We stream on YouTube. So if you did hit the subscribe button, you'll be notified. Come hang out with us, because we talk sports, relationship, fashion, music. I mean, it is a nonstop, laugh out loud, no holds barred ride of a time. Kev, what am I forgetting, man? You the boss. You pay the bills, Kev, so I'll let you close this thing out, man.
Oh, B. Jones, you did a great job. Probably one of the best jobs you've ever done. And I hate really giving you credit because I lost in championship rounds. Like B. Jones said, really, dude? Hey, so I went to a church in Oklahoma and they had 3 offerings. So this, for the 3rd time, this is your chance to hit that subscribe button. Miss Brasby, thank you for gracing us with your presence. Your energy is amazing. It's infectious. Hey, you got fans here.
And
Thank you guys.
4 flat tires. Sports Like Talk Nation. We love you guys. Y'all stay safe. Be blessed. Take care of one another because the world is becoming such a crazy place. And we will see y'all again on the next episode of Sports Life Talks. You got next. Yeet.